this is Ruben from Dutch Round 1. Thanks again for stopping by. Thanks for watching another episode. I appreciate your time and I appreciate the support. Today, what are we going to do? Well, we'll do a vocabulary lesson. We'll look at 100 words which you kind of need to know in the Dutch language for your daily conversations. So we'll go through a list, and in order to make your life easier, I've written the article de of het in front of the word. As you know, in Dutch, this is not always very straightforward, so I tried to make your life easier. But before we start, remember, you know the drill, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content, and let me know in the comments what you think about the videos and how I can help you make your Dutch learning process easier. But without much further ado, let's head straight for the words. Okay, well, the first one will start in the morning. We'll start with de ochtend, okay? De ochtend is morning, okay? But we also have de morgen. De morgen is also the morning. If it's a noun, de morgen, then it will be the morning. If it's an adverb, then it will be tomorrow. So be careful with morgen. Then we go to literally the midday. So what could that be? That is noon or afternoon. De middag, okay? Can be noon, can be afternoon. More specifically for afternoon, we use de namiddag. De namiddag is afternoon. The namiddag, literally, na is after and middag will be noon. Okay, and then we move on towards the evening. The evening is de avond. De avond. And to finish off the day, we go to the night, and the night is de nacht. De nacht. Okay, and then we start with a very important meal in the morning, and that is breakfast. That is het ontbijt. Het ontbijt. We continue for lunch, and lunch is het middageten. Literally the noon food. Okay, het middageten. Het 4 uurtje. Het 4 uurtje is literally the 4 o'clock. That is the afternoon snack. And then het avondeten would be the evening meal, literally, or the evening food. That would be dinner. And then, of course, we have the word het eten. Het eten is food. Okay, we have a synonym, and that synonym is het voedsel. Now, what is the difference? Well, for instance, if you want to say the food is tasty, you will say het eten is lekker. Voedsel is more used, like for instance on the news, when they speak about a certain region in the world, and when they say there's a shortage of food, then they will say er is een tekort aan voedsel. There's a shortage of food. Okay, so this is a slight difference between both of them. And then we move on, and then meat would be het vlees. Het vlees is meat. And we continue, and we also have vegetables, and the vegetables are de groenten. De groenten are vegetables. Het fruit, fruit is fruit. However, it does not have any plural nor singular. So basically, one piece of fruit is fruit, but many pieces of fruit are also fruit. So we don't say fruit or fruiten, or we do say fruit, but we don't say fruiten, so it does not have any plural. And then we have het brood. Brood is bread. Het brood is bread. Rijst. The rijst would be rice. Remember that I and that J, you want to pronounce it as an English A. If you're interested in a pronunciation video, please check my channel. I've got a great video regarding the pronunciation of the Dutch language, the alphabet, and also the diphthongs. All right, and then we have the pasta, the deegwaren, or the pasta. Well, mostly we will use pasta, but deegwoorden, let's say, is the more Dutch word. Deegwaren is the more Dutch word for pasta. Deegwaren or pasta. And then we go to the word dish. The word dish is het gerecht. Het gerecht. And we start off with a starter, and that would be het voorgerecht, literally the pre-dish. And then het hoofdgerecht would be the main course. And then het dessert is the dessert. And in the Netherlands, they also use the word toetje. So dessert would be probably more Flemish, and toetje is more Dutch from the Netherlands. And then, of course, coffee, quite close to coffee. The kaas would be cheese. And then the melk is milk. Suiker, that would be sugar, okay? Suiker. And then you cannot eat without salt and pepper, so salt is het zout, and then de peper is pepper. But if you don't want to cook and you want to go to a restaurant, well, you can see that the word is written exactly the same as in English, but we say it a bit differently. We say het restaurant. And then if you want to go to the pub, if you want to go to the bar, again, slight difference between Flanders and the Netherlands. Flanders, we would say het café. In the Netherlands, they tend to use more the word de kroeg. And then hotel, exactly the same, het hotel. Het kantoor, that would be the office. Sometimes you will also see bureau, but let's say kantoor is more of a Dutch word. Bureau is a loan word from the French language. Okay, and then if you live in an apartment, then you live in an appartement. Appartement is apartment or a flat. And then het huis, that would be house. Het huis. And then the lift. The lift is an elevator. The lift. The trap would be the stairs or the staircase. So the trap. And then de badkamer is the bathroom. Kamer is room. And then bad would be bath. So together they are bathroom. De slaapkamer, literally the sleeping room or the sleep room, would be the bedroom. Then the woonkamer, wonen is to live, kamer still room, so the living room is the woonkamer. The keuken, remember to pronounce that EU quite sharp. You want to say keuken, you don't want to say koeken, because then you speak about cookies, which you also can find in the kitchen, but it's not the same thing. So the keuken is kitchen. And then we have the attic. The attic is de zolder. The basement would be de kelder. And then we also have de garage. Again, a loan word. That is why we pronounce that last G as a French G and not as a Dutch G, because if it would be Dutch, we would say garage, but we do not do that, and we say garage, and that is the garage. And then a car, the two most common words for a car are de auto of de wagen. Both of them are correct and both of them are used quite commonly. Then we have bicycle, very popular in the Netherlands, also in Belgium, but quite popular in the Netherlands indeed. And that would be a bicycle or a bike. And then if we continue, we have de moto or the motorfiets. That would be the motorcycle. Motorbike is the motorfiets of the motor. Then we have de trein. The train is the train, so very close to English. Or when you're in town and you want to take the tramway, then we'd say je neemt de tram. You take the tramway. And then het station. Het station is the station. Most of the time when people are speaking about het station, they're speaking about the railway station, sometimes always also about the bus station, but in most cases het station will be the railway station. And then we have a word for truck or lorry. That would be the vrachtwagen. If you go to Flanders, sometimes you will hear camion, but the better Dutch word would be the vrachtwagen. Okay, and then traffic would be het verkeer. Het verkeer is traffic. De voetganger would be pedestrian, voetganger. Het verkeerslicht, literally verkeer, traffic. Licht is light, so it is a traffic light. And then we have de politieagent or de agent. That would be the police officer. If it's a lady, you would say de agente of de politieagente, so you will add an E. And then the grens would be the border. Grens is border. Then we have luchthaven, airport. Literal translation, lucht is air, haven is port. So the airport. Het vliegtuig, literally, vlieg is to fly. Tuig can be freely translated as thing. So the flying thing is an aeroplane. Het vliegtuig is a plane. Then the taxi, exactly the same like in English. Taxi in British English, cab in American English. The chauffeur is the driver. And then de reis is travel, trip, or journey. So yeah, that is de reis. And then you have arrival. Arrival is the aankomst. Aankomen, the verb is to arrive, so the aankomst is the noun, and that would be the arrival. And then het vertrek, that would be the contrary, and that would be the departure. Het vertrek. And then if you want to know the price of something, you will say, what is the prijs? What is the price? De prijs, again, remember that I and that J, pronounce it as an English A, right? And the korting would be a discount. Korting, N and G you will pronounce as like in English, like wing, sing, king, thing, and so on. So that would be discount. And then if you want to bill, then you can say de rekening, that would be the bill. And then the factuur, of course, if you send somebody a factuur, that would be an invoice, de factuur. And then a payment, well, betalen, the verb betalen is to pay, so the betaling is the noun, and that is a payment. And then the telephone is a phone. And then when we look at a mobile phone, there's a small difference between the two Dutch-speaking regions in Europe. In Flanders, we will say de gsm, and in the Netherlands, I hear my colleagues often say het mobieltje. So gsm in Flanders, het mobieltje in the Netherlands. Of televisie, the televisie, pretty straightforward, television. The radio, exactly the same, just pronounced differently. Radio, the radio. Het nieuws is the news. Het nieuws is om 8 uur. The news is at 8 o'clock. News. De krant is the newspaper, the krant. And then if you read a magazine, then het tijdschrift. Het tijdschrift. That would be a magazine. Het programma, for instance on television, or program of a theater, or of a play in a theater. Het programma is the program. And then de tijd is time. But this is a bit of a pitfall, especially for English-speaking people. If you want to say, for instance, I have been 3 times to Spain, then you will say, ik ben 3 keer of 3 maal naar Spanje geweest. You won't say, ik ben 3 tijden of geweest naar Spanje. That is not correct. So time is actually only when it's got to do with hours, minutes, and seconds. If you speak about 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, then you say 1 keer, 2 keer, 3 keer, of 1 maal, 2 maal, 3 maal. And then uur, that would be the hour, het uur, de minuut, pretty close to English, the minute, de seconde would be the second, and then the clock would be a clock, so pretty much the same as in English. Horloge, again a G which is pronounced as a French G. Horloge is also a loan word, so we got it from another language, and that would be a wrist watch. De horloge. Halsketting would be a necklace. The halsketting, literally the neck chain. Ketting is a chain. Necklace in English. And then de ring, written the same, pronounced differently. Ring, de ring. Okay, de schoen is a shoe. De broek will be pants. De broek. And then de trui is a sweater or a pullover. De trui. And then het hemd, that would be a formal shirt. Het hemd, shirt. The jas would be a jacket. So the jas is a jacket. And then the sock and the kous, both of them are correct, and both of them are used quite often. So the sock of the kous, that would be a sock. And then het lichaam, that would be your body, het lichaam. De arm, exactly the same as in English, again pronounced differently. De arm. If it's an adjective, it means poor, right? So if it's an adjective, it means poor. If it's de arm, if it's a noun, then it means the arm. Het been, that would be your leg, het been. And then de voet would be your foot, de voet, foot. And then de hand would be hand, so written the same, pronounced differently. And then de vinger, again, very close. De vinger is finger. De teen would be toe, okay? De teen is toe. And then we have de taal. Taal is language. For instance, de taalles, the language lesson or the language course. And then het gesprek. Het gesprek is a conversation. Het gesprek. Of course, you can see the verb spreken, to speak, in that word. And then we come to the last word of this lesson, which is the end, which is het einde. So these were 100 very common nouns in Dutch, which we use on a daily basis. I hope I helped you improve your vocabulary. I hope this was useful for you. I hope you found some value into it. Remember to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content. Let me know in the comments what you're struggling with in Dutch, and I'll try to make your life easier. And as for me, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for your time, thanks for the support. Keep it 100, and I see you soon for another episode of Dutch Round 1.